SEO APIs are having a moment right now. More and more agencies are automating their reporting workflows, developers are building custom SEO tools, and a lot of people are connecting audit data directly into their own apps and LLM integrations. SEOptimer's SEO Audit API is built exactly for that. It lets you run audit, pull back structured data across more than 70 checks, and generate client-ready PDF reports, all without opening the SEOptimer dashboard. If you'd rather skip the code entirely, SEOptimer just launched an MCP that lets you work with the same audit data straight from your AI chat. In this video, I'll show you how to get set up from scratch. We'll grab your API key, set up your report template, run your first API call from the terminal, and pull back the results. Let's get into it. First, you will need your API key. Log into SEOptimer, then in the main navigation, click API. On that page, you'll see your unique API key. Every request you make will need this key, so keep it somewhere where you can easily find it. You will also see your API documentation and links to the available plans from this page. Now, before you can start making requests, you will need to be on an API plan. We have good news for those of you who are on the white label or embedded plan. SEOptimer now includes 50 free API requests for users on those plans, so you can start exploring the API right away. When you're ready to scale up, the entry-level paid plan covers 500 reports per month. If you need more than 10,000 reports, there's a custom plan available. Just reach out to us via live chat, and the team will help you find a setup based on what you need. One more thing worth knowing, your quota only counts when you create a report. So fetching result data and downloading PDFs do not eat up into your quota. Now, before you start making API calls, I think it's worth taking a few minutes to set up your report template. This controls what your PDF reports look like, so it also controls which audit checks to get included. In the dashboards, go to Auditing, then click Report Templates. By default, your API responses include data for all audit checks. The template lets you control that. If you turn off specific checks here, they won't come back in the API response either. So keep that in mind if you already have something running that depends on certain data points. From here, you can upload your logo, choose your brand colors, pick your fonts, and turn individual checks on or off. Once you're happy with it, you can save the template. If you want to apply a specific template when making API calls, you will need the template ID. You can find that in the URL when you're reviewing the template, and if you don't want to specify a template in your API call, SEOptimer will use your default template. If you want the raw data and don't need PDF reports, you can skip this step. But for most people, especially if you're running reports for clients, it's worth setting up first. Okay, now let's get on to how to make your first API call. First, you need to open your command line tool. So it's Terminal for Mac and Command Prompt for Windows user. Since I'm using Mac, so I'll use Terminal and curl here to keep the demo simple. But in practice, you would usually make this call as part of your application code. That could be Python, JavaScript, or whatever stack you're using. I have the command ready to go here, so let's walk through what it's doing. The two H flags you're seeing are headers. The first one tells the API that we're sending JSON, and the second one is where your API key goes. And that is how SEOptimer authenticates your requests. The D flag is the data you're passing in. Here, we're telling it which URL we want to audit. We are also setting PDF to 0, that means we only want the raw data back without a PDF. But if you want a PDF included, change that value to 1. And at the end, we have to create endpoint. This is what kicks off a new audit. Once you run it, you'll get a JSON response back, and the main thing you're looking for is the ID field, and that's your result ID. This is important because you will need it for the next step. You should also see success through. That confirms the request passed initial validation and has been submitted for auditing. At that point, one report comes off your monthly quota. Now let's go get the results. This command follows the same structure as before. Your API key goes in the header, but this time you're using the get endpoint. And at the end, you add your result ID. Reports usually take around 20 to 30 seconds to come back. And if you're running several reports at once, the later ones may take a little longer because they are processed in order. If you get success false, it just means that the report is not ready yet. You can give it a moment and then try again. Once the report is ready, you'll get a long JSON object back. This includes data across more than 70 audit checks. I know it's a lot to look at in raw form, and a simple trick is to copy the whole response and paste it into a JSON formatter. That makes everything much easier to read, and now you can browse through the data that the API returns. So for example, page speed, metadata, mobile checks, links, it's all in there. This is a great way to get familiar with the data before you start building anything on top of it. One more thing to know about is the request log inside SEOptimer. Go back to the API module, then scroll to the bottom. Every API request you've made shows up here. You'll see the request ID, what you sent, when it ran, how long it took, and its status. Click View in the output column. From there, you can open the result data for any past requests. This is useful if you need to check something without running the API again. So where does this fit into real workflows? So one of the biggest use cases that we see is for agencies and developers. They can pull audit data straight into a client-facing dashboard, app, or internal auditing tool. If you already show clients SEO performance data somewhere, the API gives you a clean way to add audit results without manual work. Another common use case is CRM automation. So for example, when a new prospect gets added to your CRM, an SEO audit can be automatically generated and attached to that contact. This API turns prospecting to something that runs in the background. And lastly, with more people building AI-powered tools and LLM integrations, the API gives you a simple way to feed real SEO data into whatever you're building, no scrapping and no manual exports. If you're planning something more complex, it's worth reaching out to our support team. They can help you think through the best way to structure your integration. Now, this is for folks who would not rather deal with code at all. SEOptimer also launched an MCP. This lets you run audits directly from your AI chat. It runs on the same API we've been using, just without the terminal. To connect it in Cloud, go to your profile icon, then go to Settings, Connectors, and add new connector. Give it a name, for example, SEOptimer, then paste it in the MCP URL with your API key. Swap in your actual API key, hit save, and voila. From there, you can ask Claude to audit the site. It will pull the results back directly in chat. What's useful about this is that you can actually have a conversation with the data. You can ask what the biggest issues are, what to prioritize, and how you would explain a problem to a client. Now, any audits you run through the MCP will also show up in the same request log we looked at earlier. So everything is tracked in one place. If you already spend a lot of time in AI tool like most people, this is probably the quickest way to get started with SEOptimer's audit data. And that wraps up SEOptimer's SEO audit API. We've gone through getting your API key, to reading your results, to thinking about what you can build with the data. If you have questions, drop them in the comments below or reach out to us via live chat. And if this was helpful, subscribe. We've got more walkthroughs coming. Don't forget to follow us on social media for the latest SEO tips, industry news, and product updates. Thank you for watching.